back with day 3 of December Daily. And this time I am scrapbooking my 2025 YouTube year in review kind of playlist. And I thought this was pretty cool and fun. And I didn't get a chance to do the one with Spotify last year because I don't actually use Spotify. And everybody was talking about Spotify and their playlist and their top numbers and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, ooh, I can do this one this year because they have a YouTube one. And then I can get into the conversation with everyone when they talk about their YouTube year in review. Of course, no one's talked about their YouTube year in review, only I've heard it on the radio. So I haven't been able to enjoy my top channels, I guess, or watches since I did this with anyone because no one's really brought it up. So I get to talk to you guys about it. So let me know if you guys did the YouTube year in review and what you got. I think I am the creative. Maybe they just called it the creative. And you'll see my top videos here or top channels here in a little bit when I bring the picture over. So let me know in the comments below if you did this and if you did, what they said you were and what kind of videos you mainly watched. Oh, the creative spirit, that's what it was. So you can see here that I'm as the creative spirit and my top channels are Crazy Lamp Lady, It's Only Paper, and Harry Tornado. Most of the things I watched were craft room organization because my number one hobby is organizing. My number two hobby is paper crafting. And also journal ideas was my second. And the third top one was thrift store finds. Again, a big passion of mine is thrifting. I have an eBay store, an Etsy store. So if you're interested in like vintage finds and thrifted things and that type of thing, come on over to my Etsy and eBay stores. And I believe my Etsy is already linked below, and I don't believe my eBay is, but I will add that as well. So I have some fun stuff over there, mostly just vintage items, some antiques, but mostly vintage. I just love vintage. My favorite era is like that 50s kind of kitschy vintage. I don't find that super, super often, but I do have some fun pieces in my shop right now. So if you're interested, come on and stop by. It is the same name, so the shop is the Motley Frog, just like my channel, if you're interested. So anyway, off to this page. I covered the left-hand side of that page with the doily. The back of the McDonald's box was what was showing, and I wanted to cover that kind of brownish, grayish cardboard up. So I used the doily and cut it in half, and then I added a couple of the printables all around. I picked them out. These are the ones from Tracy Reed, and then I wanted to have some kind of border on the left-hand side. I felt like I needed to anchor it somehow on the left-hand side. So I just punched a circle out of some white paper and used it as a template. I folded that in half so I could kind of make sure I was using about half the circle. And then I just traced it and then trimmed it with my scissors. And it worked perfect because I don't have a punch or a border punch like that wide. I have a little scallop, but I wanted something a bit more beefy of a scallop. So I just did that. So it's perfect. You can do that with whatever size circle you want to get whatever size scallop you want. And now I'm taking those printables, like I said, and I'm just scattering them around where I like them, and then I'll glue them down once I glue the border on in the photo. I'm just using my art glitter glue here with this like needle point applicator, and I'm going to glue that edge on. I think I've said this already in one of the other videos, but I'm using a variety of adhesives on this album. I'm using the art glitter glue. I'm using the Beacon 3-in-1. I'm using the like 3M tape roller. Those are probably my top three. I'm also using a Pritt glue stick. Pritt is a new glue stick for me. I had been using the Oohoo glue sticks. I like the Pritt because it's a bit more creamy and it glides on a little bit better. The Oohoo, although it was strong, it was just a bit more of a sticky glue, so it was harder to apply to the elements. But the bad thing about the Pritt, although it is really, really smooth, it seems to dry very, very fast. So you can't like do a big, huge space and then try to glue it down because it dries up pretty quick. So those are some of the pros and cons of them. I do like them both. I have a bunch of the Pritt, so I'm going to use those right now and try to decide. Right now I'm thinking I'm going to stick with the Pritt, but I may go back to the Oohoo after I use it for a while. Who knows? Now I'm just gluing like those things in like I was mentioning, using my Beacon 3-in-1, which is basically the same thing as Fabri-Tac. It's a acetone-based glue, which I really like. It doesn't warp the page, and I like how it kind of rubs off like rubber cement. So if you overglue something, you can kind of rub it off, which you can't do with like more of a white glue. So I'm just kind of, and I also like it because although the what is it? The glitter glue is really, really strong and really, really good. It dries almost instantaneously once you stick it down. So with the 3-in-1, you do get a bit more playtime with it. So I like that because you can move stuff around if you didn't get it quite where you want. Now I'm getting ready to add my number. I'm pretty much just using these number tags. I've actually done day 4 and I think 5 already, and I just keep using these number tags. They came in the Tracy Reed kit, and I really like them, and I figured I'll just use them throughout the album. And although I'm not necessarily documenting every day, I'm documenting approximately 25 different things in this journal. We'll see if I have enough pictures and enough things to document, but I'm going to try to do that. So I'm going to use those numbers, even though they're not necessarily the 3rd of December, for instance. I will be using them for like story number 3. This, for instance, is actually December 3rd, and I do have some of my pictures that are coordinating with the day of the week, but it's not necessarily going to be that way the whole album. I have had this ribbon in my stash for forever. It came from TJ Maxx some time ago, and I'm happy to use it. I thought the colors worked really well with the colors on the layout, and I'm just going to fiddle with that a little bit. I already added a eyelet. I pretty much am going to add eyelets to all of these, I think, just to have a more cohesive look to the album. And then I'm gluing it down with that 3-in-1. Just going to stick that down there. And then I felt like there was something missing for the top right hand portion of this page. So in a little bit, you're going to see me kind of find some labels and put some labels and things up at the top right hand corner just to kind of tie it in. I just felt it was like bottom left heavy. So you'll see that here pretty soon. Now I'm just figuring out what I might want to put on the left-hand side. I also found that the left-hand side, the top where that little flower is, was a little light with all the heaviness of the embellishments I put on the right-hand 2 corners. So I'm trying to find a circle that I thought would look pretty to tuck kind of behind there, so it kind of gives it a little extra texture. I usually like to put clusters of 3, but in this time I kind of thought that the pink scallopy border plus the circle and the flower image was kind of like 3 altogether. And I just like how these kind of stack together and add a little bit more weight, like I said, to the left-hand side. It kind of gives your eye that visual triangle. Now, when I put that label in the top right, obviously I'm adding now the 4th spot, but I just think it looks nice and it feels like it evens out the page pretty well. Also, I just wanted to put a title on here. So I'm going to put, I think, YouTube review, I think is what I'm going to put. And you'll see that here in a little bit. This is a sheet that had these punch out shapes. And I think I got it at a crop. Every time we crop with first class scraps, we all kind of, not all, but a lot of us bring a bunch of stuff that we're not using anymore or don't want or whatever, and we put it on this free table. And then everybody all weekend long goes to the free table and pulls things off of it. It's pretty fun because that way you're kind of like donating to each other and you guys are sharing each other's stash. And what you might not want, someone else might want. So it's pretty fun to do that. So I really like the free table. I bring home way more stuff than I ever need or use. However, I do sometimes use it like I am now. So that's pretty cool that I was able to use this 12 by 12 on this layout and just add some more here. So actually, I kind of forgot that I added that blue kind of, I don't know, rosette kind of whatever in the top left. So that's technically my 3, I guess. But at first, I thought I was only going to put those 2 plus the scallop. So I misremembered. It was only a couple days ago, but sometimes it's just hard to remember these days. All right, now I am pulling some labels for my stash. I felt like I didn't want to put just one. I really wanted kind of a stacked or layered look to the labels. So I'm going to pull out 3 different labels. The red one that I have down there is one that came in the Tracy Reed kit. Then the other 2 that I'm going to be using are actually from a printable that I have, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of the person that, oh, it might be Caitlin Schaefer, actually, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it might be Caitlin Schaefer. I have labels and they're different color sheets. So some of them are blue, a blue sheet, a red sheet, a green sheet, that type of thing. And I cut them all out. And so those are labels from that printable. And I believe that printable's free. I've had it for forever. I don't know where I exactly got it from. You might be able to go to Caitlin Schaefer and look that up in Google and find the file. I'm not quite sure. It was quite some time ago though, but they were free. So now I'm going to glue this little cluster of labels together, and then I'm going to be adding my title. I don't always use a title on these pages. I actually don't even always use a title on my normal 12 by 12 scrapbook pages when I was doing those. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just don't think about it. it's like the title seems to be one of the last things I ever think about. So I tend to mostly focus on the pictures and the embellishments around the pictures, and sometimes add a title. And then I also am super bad about adding journaling to my normal 12 by 12 layouts. I'm much better. I'm focused and know that I want to put that on these December daily ones. So I am really good about journaling in the my December Daily album, but I'm not great when I'm doing 12 by 12s. And I think I mentioned this, but I have not done a 12 by 12 layout or like an 8.5 by 11 in like forever. I'm really into the more junk journaling and kind of like more freedom, if you will. Yeah, because it's a lot of fun to I don't know. I don't feel like I have as many rules. Not that there's any rules really, but I feel like I can be a bit more loose in my journals and things like that than I could on the 12 by 12. Plus, I like the size better. It's just, they're just a little bit smaller. I mean, I can always do an 8.5 by 11, but for some reason, putting them in a book like that and then being able to flip through the book, I don't know. I just really find it very satisfying. So, I have been doing a lot better in my journaling as far as like actually journaling, but I have not been doing my journal in a long time. And I also think I mentioned that recently in one of the December daily videos, but I need to really, really, really get back to my daily journaling. I've been doing okay at keeping up with daily journaling in my Hobonichi, which is just, quick, fast journaling. It's not pretty. I don't decorate nothing, but just to get my thoughts down. So if I do want to journal more like creatively, I can take what I have in my Hobonichi and do that. However, I don't know the last time I actually worked in my other journal, probably over the summer. I don't know. I'll go on these streaks where I'm doing a really good job. I'm keeping up with it. I'm having a lot of fun. I may not do it every day, but then I catch up. And then all of a sudden, I'll just be like, done. And then it's going to take me, I don't know, 6, 8 months to get back to it. And then I'll be all into it again. And then I'm done again. I don't know if anybody else is like that. I don't know if it's like an ADD type of thing or what, but that's just kind of what seems to happen to me. And hopefully I'll get back into it though. I really enjoy the daily journaling, especially just doing lots of things with like stickers. I love putting stickers down, and I've been getting better at just using my stuff instead of hoarding everything. So I really need to get back to that kind of journaling so that I can continue to use all the stuff that I have in my stash. So now I'm just going through the sticker book here. I'm just going to pull out a couple stars just to sprinkle towards the top of the page where that journaling block is. I'm going to put this red one. I think I pick another red one and then a pink one. And I think this is pretty much it once I get the other star done. So I really thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, leave me some comments below. Love to hear from you guys. Lets me know that you're enjoying the videos and lets me know you want me to keep making them. So I really appreciate all the support that you've given me over the years and for these December daily videos. So I will be back again with day 4 pretty soon. So I'll wrap it up here. You're going to see some close-ups of the layout now by itself, and then the layout with the journaling on it, and then some photos at the end. Thank you guys, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye, everybody.